Hello, friends. I hope today's finding you well. I'm a little more serious on this one because yesterday I had someone from the group message me about doing something permanent to themselves to fix temporary conditions. I want to say this, and I hope you receive it. Suicide is not an answer. Suicide is not the answer. Suicide doesn't fix anything. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are made in the image of God. In the beginning, in Genesis, the Word makes it clear. Sorry, my tripod has fallen. The Word makes it clear from the beginning. You were made in the image of God. And God doesn't take the time to make junk. You might feel depressed now. You might feel like you can't pay the bills on time, or you might feel like your relationships with people are over, or you might feel like there's all these things going on. You might have a sickness or a disease. But I'm going to tell you, if God still has you here, you still have a purpose. And I really want to say I'm glad you reached out for help. I'm glad we got to talk. Ask for help. And Christians, I'm going to tell you something. Stop telling people things. And I saw this on a church's or on a Christian page's thing yesterday. Stop telling people you just need more faith. When a brother or sister asks for help, be there. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Listen to what Psalm 139 says about what God thinks of us. Listen. Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I stand up. You understand my thoughts from far away. You observe my travels and my rest. You are aware of all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you know all about it, Lord. You have encircled me. You have placed your hand on me. This extraordinary knowledge is beyond me. It is lofty. I am unable to reach it. Where can I go to escape from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I live at the eastern horizon or settle at the western limits, even there your hand will lead me. Your right hand will hold on to me. If I say, surely darkness will hide me, and the light around me be night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night shines like the day. Darkness and light are alike to you. For it was you who created my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I will praise you because I have been remarkably and wonderfully made. Some translations say fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know this very well. My bones were not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, and I was formed in the depths of the earth. You saw me when I was formless. All my days were written in your book and planned before a single one of them began. God, how difficult your thoughts are for me to comprehend. How vast their sum. If I counted them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. When I wake up, I am still with you. Now listen, he asked God to handle his problems here. Listen to this. God, if only you would slay the wicked. You bloodthirsty men, stay away from me, who invoke you deceitfully. Your enemies swear by you falsely, Lord. Don't I hate those who hate you and detest those who rebel against you? I hate them with extreme hatred. I consider them my enemies. He's saying, Lord, you handle my difficulties. You handle my enemies. You handle the problems that are causing me to get down. Now he ends up going and saying this. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my concerns. See if there's any offensive way in me. Lead me in the way of everlasting. Do you understand that God knew you before you ever set foot upon this earth, before you were conceived? You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are precious and important to God. You are here because you matter to him. And when he decides to take you home, he'll take you home. but doing it yourself. You matter. Suicide is not the answer. It doesn't make things easier. It makes things worse on everyone who's left behind, but it makes things worse on you, because what's that say? Do you trust God or not? Are you trusting in God by deciding to end your life? You matter to God. You matter to me. You matter to your parents. You matter to your church family. You matter to your friends. Don't rip an entirely huge hole in life to fix a temporary condition. Depression is temporary. It is. Jesus faced anxiety and depression. He wept over Jerusalem. He said, I was sorrowful to the point of death. Jesus faced those things. Loved ones, you matter. And I know this isn't our typical kind of video, but it needs to be said. According to the Word of God, you matter to God. Your life matters to God. He wants so much for you to be with Him. He sent His Son to die that you may live. And yeah, trust Him. Hold on to Him. But here's the other thing. Seek help if you need it. Because you matter. I'd rather help pick up the pieces than go to your funeral. You matter to God. And God's trying to get a hold of you. He wants you to focus and be content in Him. It's difficult for a lot of us to be content in Him. It's difficult because we look at our circumstances and we see no way out of them, and we get angry and upset and depressed, and we don't know what God has planned in the future. But those circumstances are deceitful. Our hearts are desperately wicked, according to Jeremiah, and they cannot be trusted. But you, beloved believer, matter. You matter so much that God held nothing back from you, not even the life of His own Son. That's what this week's all about. That's what Easter's all about. That's why the tomb is empty. That's why on Good Friday Christ suffered and died. I'm losing my tripod again. I'm sorry. That's why on Good Friday Christ suffered and died. Because you matter. For God so loved the world, He gave His one and only Son, that whoever should believe in Him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. And yeah, a lot of times our faith suffers. But Jesus said, if you have but the faith of a mustard seed, and mustard seeds are very small. If you have the faith of a mustard seed, you could say to this mountain, get up. And it'll pick itself up and throw the ocean. In 2 Corinthians chapter 1, He said, we despaired of life. We were so distraught that we despaired of life. Believers back then, Paul and those who were with him, understand that feeling. They felt it. They despaired of life. But he said, but we held on to the one who raises the dead to life. In chapter 12 of 2 Corinthians, the Apostle Paul says, I had a thorn in my flesh, a snare from the enemy to keep me from becoming conceited. And I asked the Lord to remove it from me 3 times. And all He said was, my grace is sufficient for you. In your weakness, my power is made complete. Paul said, therefore, I will boast all the more in my weakness, for when I am weakest, it is then that I am strong. Loved one, you matter. You are important to God. Your weakness isn't a place for you to negotiate with God, but it is a place for you to come to depend on Him. Not just to depend on Him when things are bad, but it's that place that teaches us to hold on to Him in all circumstances, so that in Him we may be found complete and lacking in nothing. That's what He desires. He wants to be your peace. He wants to be your contentment. He wants to be your joy. And those circumstances will change, but He never does. I'm praying for you. I love you. I want you to know you matter. And God willing, I hope to see you next week.